One of the most profound things I've learned in my life is that it's actually not about my hair at all. I've spent a lifetime trying to cover up who I am. And as much as I love a good external transformation, and I do, I much more love a heart transformation. Join me as I share how I work to heal my heart, find happiness, and embrace our hair.
Hey guys, welcome back to the It's Not About Your Hair podcast, where we talk all things hair, heart, and happiness. Hey, I'm glad that you guys have joined me today. As always, it's always so fun to feel like we get to connect and hang out. I hope that this podcast greets you like a girlfriend sitting around for coffee, that you feel like we're in this space together, that it's like two friends just sitting around and sharing life together. You know, one of the things that I always say, that behind my chair, I've been so fortunate to take for granted living life so closely with people, having so many different lenses on the world and lived experiences and opportunities to rub up against so many different kinds of people. And I think it's really allowed me to formulate such a love for people and life, and also to see if I'm going to be honest, people in my life that are chronically unhappy or chronically ill or chronically happy. What are some of the common things in their lives that create that? I recently took a test, you guys. I'm meeting with a holistic practitioner, and I did this test, and I thought it'd be fun to share it with you guys. So it was a test that checks your hormone levels, you know, because I'm hitting that 45 and everything on the internet tells me that I'm in the perimenopause stage. And I wanted to know, like, what does that look like? Where am I at in my journey of womanhood? And I took the saliva test. So it's a saliva and a blood test, and they test your saliva all during the day. So fasting, and then before breakfast, and then before lunch, and before dinner, and before bed. And it's checking to see what your cortisol levels are, your fight or flight stressors. And she said, when I went back in for my results, you guys, that it's supposed to form a C, kind of low, and then it kind of ranges and then comes back. And she said that I had the best score she's seen out of any of her people. And she said, what's the secret? And I'm going to share it with you guys today. I was really, really humbled when she said that, and excited. Why do we need approval from others to tell us that we're doing a good job? And your hormones don't lie, and your blood tests don't lie, and your saliva tests don't lie. I feel that peace in my life now. And I want to share a little bit of where I think it comes from for me. And also to say a couple of things about it. So number one, she said, what is the answer? And I think it's a multitude of things. So let's go through them together. And if you are super stressed out, this is not a shamer. This is maybe something you can bump into that might help you along the journey, or where you're at, or cut you some slack. I think it's age. I think that I'm at an age in my life where I have went through some really hard things still to come. But what I've realized is I've survived those things. So I don't think it's necessarily age. I think it's experiences lived. So if you live most of your life in sheltered experiences, maybe you haven't had to go through a lot of hard things, and that can create a disconnect in your experiences, where I feel like my life of being an entrepreneur, my life of being a mom, my life living in community with others, I've went through some hard things. And in the first season of my life, I went through hard things personally. What I mean by that is I took them all personal. And I took them personal in the fact that I was responsible for them, and I was responsible to fix them. And the reality is that most things in our life are not our responsibility to fix. And when we learn what is ours to fix and what isn't, it gives us permission to be in the moment either with our own feelings, with those that are suffering, to come alongside or to take a step back. And I think that has allowed me to slow down my stress response. Two, I have extreme faith that God is working all things out for my good and for his glory. Whether that means, and I've come to terms with this, you guys, whether that means on this side of heaven or on the other, that death is not something to be feared, which I used to fear it so much. But it's a shared experience that we're all going to have in this life, like the only one we're all going to share, living and dying. And coming to grips with that, and coming to grips with, for me, faith has allowed me to believe that time doesn't get stolen from somebody, that my days are already picked out for me. So whether I live to 100 or I live to 45. And so I don't have to fear, even if things are hard, that it will be okay. So faith allows me to believe that all things are working together, things I'm blocked from, things I get to be a part of, things I'm experiencing are all sifted through the hands of God. Appreciate that. Also, I've made it 2/3 of the way through raising small children. That totally helped my stress levels. So in the season of young parenting, when I look back, there are so many things I miss. So if you're new, you don't know my story, I have a 24, almost 25-year-old. I have a 19, almost 20-year-old, and I have a 15, almost 16-year-old. And so 2 of my 3 kids are moving into or are moved into adulthood. That is a huge stressor removed from your marriage, from your life. Raising kids is awesome and fun, but there's this turmoil. Also, when you're younger, there's not a lot of money. I think raising kids, we were losing and gaining businesses. We were taking risks that cost a lot of money. We lost money. We had money. We didn't have money. We mostly didn't have. And, you know, there was a season where I homeschooled the kids and a season where I was running 30 people in my salon. And all of those things are really, really hard and good all at the same time. But they create stress and having to figure out where the money's going to come from and who's going to get the kids to practice and what's going to happen. So that is 2/3 of the way. I still think and worry about my adult kids, but I don't worry as much as I trust and pray that their lives are happening to them, that they are having a great time, that the world is working out, and that they're brave and smart and kind and moving into the world. And I believe that, and I see the fruits of that. I have lost and gained a lot of business in my life, and I hold that a little bit more loosely. And I also got rid of all my employees, which is really spectacular for me. So that was a huge stressor. I'm still an entrepreneur. I still own quite a few businesses, but I can control them, manage them on my own, not control them, because I'm in control of nothing. I could lose them all tomorrow, but I'm not dependent on other people. That relieved a lot of my stress. And I think here's the big one. I have learned what my zone of genius is. So tune into that. If you don't know what that is, watch The Big Leap or read The Big Leap. You can 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm going to come up with a book list for you guys. I'm also super big, I've said this before, but on all of the Strength Finder tests. I know my spiritual gifts. I know my personality traits. So my zone of genius is to be creative. And now that I'm not in stress mode all the time, I'm in creator mode. That creates and generates energy and replenishment and joy into my life because I'm operating at such a high level of creativity all of the time, which my husband said to me the other day. We were in bed and he's like, "Don't you ever get tired?" And I was like, "That's so interesting." And then I listened to a podcast about things that drain our energy and things that give us energy. And very few people get to tap into their zone of genius so much. And because I'm living in this multifaceted portion of my life, so 2 adult kids who are doing cool things that I get to be a part of, but I'm not in control of, is really super fun. I work behind my chair, but only 3 days a week, and I super love it. And the balance is there and great. I'm out. I get to drop my youngest daughter off to school and pick her up and be at all of her stuff. So that brings me great energy. I love that. I love being a part of that. I love my job behind the chair, but I don't want to burn out. So only 3 days a week. I have created a product and a hair bonnet called the Unwanted Bonnet, and that was really fun, the process of creating that, and I have some other things in the works, but selling those and having the Etsy store and all of that has been really fun and challenging at the same time. So you don't want to do anything that doesn't challenge you, so it challenges me to have to figure new things out and do all of that. And then building this online platform. So I love creating content on social media. It's really fun for me. It's fun for me to watch people learn to love their hair in a lightning speed or an exorbitant amount of people, right? So it's really fun one-on-one behind the chair. It's a different experience. It's hands-on, it's tactile, it's illuminating for me and the guest. The online experience has allowed me to impact so many more people and been really fun in creating content or just showing up as my authentic self on social media and listening to the reports from people that are learning to embrace their bad hair days, learning to embrace that their families are struggling, learning to get out of the stuck if they're stuck in something, stop making excuses. So I get to do that, which is super, super fun, and it brings me great joy. I go for a walk every night with my husband and we hold hands. So much joy because we talk and we dream and we think about our kids and we think about our future and we think about what's happening, and that creates a creator mind. It's so fun. I also am educating, working as an educator in person and online, which is super fun. So I get to create online courses. I'm working with a gal named Eden. She's fabulous. And she helps bring to life the visions that I've had in building these online courses. And then traveling. Traveling was a missing piece of my life that I couldn't do when my kids were little. And I get to travel so much now and see so many new places and meet so many new people. And so for me, with my ADHD brain and my experiences, all of these lend to my zone of genius, which is helping others to heal and find their superpower or success, helping others to feel loved and worthy. It's a hole in my heart that was a personal wound that now I get to help others through this lens of self-acceptance, and they all tie together, but I don't have to be stuck in any one mode. And it has allowed me to feel so free. So back to that cortisol, I'm not in fight or flight because I always get to be leaving and doing and going and coming and going and coming and going. And it's allowed me. And so what are some ways that you can implement this? So some of these weren't work related at all. They were free. Going for a walk with my husband, showing up for my kids, having family dinner, FaceTiming my daughter, like all of those are free. Pocketing in like my work schedule around the life, making new friends, coaching other salon owners, like so many things. And if you don't know what your zone of genius is, if you don't know what you're naturally gifted at, I would encourage you to Myers-Briggs, Strengths Finders. So all of these things are going to help you. And if you find yourself constantly stressed out, constantly angry, constantly ornery, maybe you're perimenopausal. There was a little bit of that. Or maybe you're just not in the right spot. Maybe you're not in the area you need to be to find yourself. Maybe seasons are changing, but you're trying to stay the same. I've had to really shift into seasons. So one of the big things we had to shift to this year was I've been wanting to take my family to Italy since our exchange daughter came and lived with us 3 years ago. And I saved the money to take my whole family to Italy. And we haven't been able to. My oldest daughter was in her master's program and she couldn't take that much time off. Then my middle daughter was graduating and she couldn't take the time. And then she didn't know what she was going to do and she went woofing. And then my oldest daughter got a real job and she couldn't take the time off. And now we're in a new season of, their lives are changing. Now my daughter's in the military and my oldest daughter is, I can't spoiler alert what's happening, but her life is changing. And so anyways, all of that to say, I could have mourned that, and I did for a little bit. I'm like, well, I saved all this money and everyone can't go. Or I've started realizing that what I can do is that vacations are going to look different for this season when my kids are in different seasons of their life. So we just went on a mini vacation with our oldest daughter and her boyfriend and our youngest daughter, because that's how much time they had. And it was really fun. And I got to be with them alone. And we're going to see just our middle daughter by herself. And my daughter and my mom are with her right now. My youngest daughter, like, they're getting to do that experience. And my husband and I got to have some time alone. Like, instead of wanting it to look like it did in a past season, I'm embracing the season I'm in and enjoying it to the fullest. So we're taking just our youngest daughter and her best friend on a vacation this summer that we wouldn't have been able to do with any of the other kids at any other season, because we wouldn't have had the time, the resources. It's just embracing the season you're in instead of wishing for something that was or hoping for something that's going to be. What is in your present mode right now that you can do to tap into this freedom, this joy, this opportunity? And they don't have to be big wonkin' things, but I'm going to give you one more. So I think my stress level is because I love the life I'm living. I love it to the fullest. And that doesn't mean there are hard days or bad days. We had a really hard day yesterday, with my daughter in the Air Force, thinking about things in the way the world is going and where it's going. And then, there was some good news and there's some bad news. And I'm not going to get into anything political on here, but what I'll tell you is that I feel the impact of the world just like you do. That sometimes there's struggles in so many areas and you don't know what tomorrow holds. But I can tap into today and find so many reasons to be joyful and happy and fulfilled and without stress. Touch your feet to the grass. Get outside in the fresh air. Enjoy. If it's a freaking heat wave like it is here and it's 110 degrees, then get up extra early and walk before it's super hot. Don't complain about it being super hot. Stop bringing that energy to yourself of constant frustration, constant anger, constant bitterness, constant. If you are stressed out, find pockets of joy. Get out of that situation. Move your body into something else. Create new things to find joy in. Gal dang, ain't in the full-blown perimenopause yet, so I could talk about this as if it's not happening. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the life and the experiences that I'm having, and I hope that you this week will find some ways to find your zone of genius and do them more often. And for some, those are big fancy trips. For some, those are walks in the park. And we have a little nature conservatory here. I've talked about it before, called DeVries. I don't have a big nature backyard, but I can go there for free and enjoy the heck out of the things in my community that are here. That's our lesson for today. Find pockets of joy. Enjoy the season you're in. Let's make a C in that cortisol. Let's not be in a constant fight or flight. You deserve better. You're worthy of love. You're spectacular. You were made for something so special. If you loved this episode, I would hope that you would subscribe, share it with a friend, and you know what? Thanks for being here.
I guess this is where I ask you to subscribe to my channel, to follow me on social, and to listen wherever podcasts can be found. And join me every Tuesday at 2 as we unpack how to heal your hair, your heart, and your happiness.